Welcome back to Kingdom Cast. This your host, Good Luck Chuck. We back at it again with another episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share all your social media platforms. We have the Indianapolis Colts as we heading up to the Horseshoe for Sunday's game at noon Central Standard Time on CBS, I believe. So before I get into everything in regards to the game, I'll introduce the panel. By left hand corner is my guy Country. By right hand corner is my guy Boogie. And then we got a special guest here. She covers the Colts. She's from the Indy Intercept. She does a podcast, and she also is the lead editor of the blog. I guess that's the title of the. I guess that's her
Managing
title, being the
editor,
lead
but
editor and everything.
yeah.
Okay, all right, close enough. Okay, all right. So I'd like to introduce Meghan Hall to this week's episode of Kingdom Cast. How you doing, Meghan?
I am living the dream. Living the dream as always.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, big time ball game. But before we get into all that, Meghan, I want to ask you this: like, how did you become a Colts fan, and what made you decide to turn it into a passion as far as like covering the team?
Yeah, so let me preface this by saying I actually am a Colts fan that lives in Atlanta. So I've seen a whole lot of Matt Ryan before he even came to us. I get a lot of flack for being a Colts fan.
ATL,
Being here. Yeah. Also I get a lot of flack because I'm actually originally from Texas. My family thinks I've abandoned my roots, but I know better. I'm not a Cowboy fan, not a Texans fan. But actually, I grew up watching a lot of football in general. So NFL has been definitely a big thing in our house since I was a kid. You know, you grew up in Texas, football is life. But I watched the Colts march to the Super Bowl 2006 through 2007 season, and really and truly Peyton Manning is why I started watching football. He is, called the sheriff for a reason. Just absolutely love the way that he diagnosed defenses, carved them up, found their weaknesses, and got to it, for lack of a better phrase. But really and truly, once Peyton, left, I stayed. Once, Andrew Luck came and went, I still stayed. And so I've now turned my passion for ranting about Colts football from my couch into a formidable platform. So now I actually write for them. I'm the managing editor for IndyIntercept.com, and I have an entire staff that also writes with me as well, of also, passionate Colts fans. And what we do is we create stories about the Colts. And the whole gist of it is really for us to be real when we create these stories. These aren't, feel-good stories all the time. These are passionate, real stories. So when I say that, I mean that we try to come with facts, try to come with stats, and just bring a different perspective to the way that we write. And so, for example, I just read about a story from Jacksonville, and in the title it says it was an ass kicking, because it was. So that's how we keep it real about the stories that we like to write. And honestly, that's been a really good thing for me to do. And now I've turned it into, like I said, writing, and now we have a podcast as well.
That's similar to our story, for real. How we started, it was Twitter conversations and phone calls and text messages and meetups. So and we was like, man, we might well start filming this. So get everybody else involved in the conversation. So that's the same. We can't. I don't think we writers. I tried to write. I'm not writer. I'm not a writer. Nah, at all. So. I don't know if Boogie ever tried to write. Charles, I thought you wrote an article or two, didn't you? Before?
Yeah, I wrote a few things before, but it definitely takes a lot of time and commitment to do that. But one day I may lock in and do that as well. So
yeah, I spent a lot of money on Grammarly, and I still was bad. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, we use Grammarly around here. Yeah, we use Grammarly around here. But honestly, though, like it to your point, yeah, it started out in Twitter. It started out in just like timeline. And then just I was telling Chuck earlier that a lot of this escalated from this past off season. Like I was in Twitter Spaces heavy in the off season because I live here in Atlanta. There are no Colts fans here in Atlanta. They're very far few in between. So I'm surrounded by Falcons fans. God bless you all. My condolences to you. But, I needed some way to get my frustrations out, talk to my people, talk to my fans, and, stop, running my husband's ear wild, that sort of thing. So
you've been through a lot of trauma too. You went through Peyton Manning, leaving. You went through Andrew Luck leaving. I went through a couple down years with a couple bad quarterbacks, but you've been through a lot of trauma in the short time you've been a Colts fan. And you stuck with it. I appreciate it because you stuck with it. Like you could have bailed years ago. I mean, Atlanta was in the Super Bowl not too long ago. You could have bailed then, but you loyal. I respect that.
I try. I do what I can. But honestly, it was better than being a Falcons fan. Truthfully, I don't think I could do it.
Falcons.
I don't know too many Indianapolis fans, and I'm sorry.
No, completely fair. Because I feel like outside of Indianapolis, like you don't find Colts fans far and away, right? Like you just don't. If you happen to run into one, you're like, "What's up?" Like
it's just you and Mike Epps.
What it is.
Okay, how did you feel? Because I can imagine how I would have felt. How did you feel when Andrew Luck retired?
So first thing is I did not believe it was real. That's the first thing. Like I remember I was taking a nap because I was exhausted. At the time I was a new mom and we don't get sleep like that anyway. So I finally was like, right. Okay, the baby's sleep, I'm going to sleep. My husband woke me up out my sleep. He's like, babe, Andrew Luck just retired. And I'm like, what? Like literally I'm like, please stop playing. Like and turned right back around and like went back to sleep. He wakes me up again 5 minutes later. He's like, no, I'm serious. Look at this. Like this is on ESPN now. And I just sat there kind of honestly in disbelief for a little bit. But once I had time to digest, like I didn't blame him, honestly. And I won't get on my soapbox about how I feel about Ryan Grigson. But it was one of those where you're like, I couldn't fault him for choosing him, right? Like he chose him at the end of the day. He had, had his body beat up over the years. He didn't have offensive line cohesion that he needed, didn't have enough weapons down the stretch. I would pick me too. And I think the only thing probably if I had to knock him was the timing was not great, obviously, because it was like right before the season. But then again, you're going to make me get on my other soapbox about the Colts not being prepared and having backup plans. They didn't have it with Peyton Manning, and they clearly didn't have it with Andrew Luck. Hence, we are now on our 6th quarterback in 5 seasons. And, I'm talking to you about it now.
Man, I miss Andrew Luck, man. They did him so bad, man. Andrew Luck would have been on the same tier as Patrick Mahomes, man. Like, he was that good. I will pick Andrew Luck over any young quarterback playing right now besides Mahomes. Josh Allen, all of them.
That's facts,
man.
Facts. Yeah, easily. The funny thing is,
too.
I appreciate y'all saying that because when you try to talk about Andrew Luck, like it's painful for a lot of people, but a lot of people don't like to be realistic about how good he just was. And I think it's because, he was hiding a lot of the flaws that we had on this roster. And especially like, if you think about it, I think his first season, I mean, we won 11 games. Like that's most rookies don't win that, their first year or whatever else. And people like to, I guess credit that to Chuck Pagano, but really that was Andrew Luck and Bruce Arians, for the first year and whatnot. So
no running game, no O-line. Like, come on, man.
What'd you say?
No run game at all.
Yeah.
Shit, probably the whole time he was there. O-line, what was he, the most sacked quarterback?
At one point, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember at one point in the season, we had like something crazy, like 15 different O-line combinations throughout the year because we just couldn't stay healthy, basically pulling guys off the street to come play, O-line. It was bad. It was bad.
They robbed us of some greatness, man.
Yeah.
Man. And I'm not even, man, all Chiefs fans, I think we all respect it, even because we seen it. Like, we seen it.
We know.
Everybody else can say what they want. We felt it.
I mean, we all remember the playoff game.
Like, you
oh, boy. Yeah, it's not.
No, we always got love and respect for Andrew Luck because we definitely seen it. When he picked up that fumble, I said, "Oh man, come on, bro."
That's actually my favorite play from him. The Superman stretch across the goal line.
All right, man, move on.
I'm sorry, my condolences.
Move on. What else you? Hell of a play. Andrew Luck was a hell of a player.
It was over after that.
We got robbed of some greatness. He wasn't even at his peak yet, for real. So
absolutely,
he got took away Because I remember the whole timeline was like, wow. And it was like, when it's everybody saying the same thing, it was like the whole timeline was like, what? It was like,
if you can imagine me doing that in my living room, like screaming at the top of my lungs, sort of thing, because I'm like, what did I just see?
It was Boogie that tweeted, man, Andrew Luck gone. I said, man, stop lying. Andrew Luck, bro, like, it's not a joke. Like, he really gone. I'm like, bro, stop lying, bro. Why would he do it? It's like 2 weeks before the season started. Why would he walk? What? Oh, like, that was crazy. I couldn't imagine. I just never talked to a Colts fan, so I had to see how that felt like.
I mean, a lot of people still call him a quitter. They call him, they think of him as a quitter. It's actually a really contested topic in Colts Twitter, Colts Facebook, Colts Nation in general. It is a very highly contested topic about whether or not he actually quit, that sort of thing. He's a traitor, all those sorts of things. And the thing is, at the end of the day, he put his body on the line for us. That's nobody could take that away from him. I don't care about the timing, that sort of thing, or whatever else, because if he had quit and then it came out later that, he had 8 broken bones, his mental health was suffering or whatever else, would you still feel the same? You know what I mean? I think people are only seeing the timing of it and they're being blinded by that, and they're not realizing that the season right before, that was the most fun he had in a while, and it took him a long time to get there because he had been so injured. He had been beat up, everything else. And who knows what else he wasn't talking about behind the scenes, because he's not the type of guy to, to talk ill or speak ill of the coaches, of the staff, of the team in general, because he's always very grateful, very humble guy.
Yeah, that 30 for 30 gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Can't wait. Bart Scott, can't wait.
The saving grace is he hasn't come back to play for another team. So it wasn't I'm just upset with Indy and they not surrounding me with nothing. I'm going to lay low for a year and then I'm going to come back and go to Tampa Bay. Stuff like that. That's a shout out. I mean,
he's been out there. Yeah. he's
not Rob Gronkowski. You just go retire because they suck, and then I'm gonna go come play with my boy. You know what I'm saying? So I think you got to respect him a little bit more because he hasn't come back to another team to start some new legacy. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and he don't look like he's coming back.
His life. No, he's not. He's not coming back. And I've been talking about that. Please let that man go live his life. And you've seen him pop up, at the Stanford games or things like that, here or there, you'll see some TV appearances, but he looks well rested. He's gotten, he's got a beard. He's got another child now, go live your life by all means.
Shout out to Andrew Luck, man.
Yes. Shout out to Andrew Luck.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on and get to the main headlines here. We got to get this out the way real quick. Wille Gay just had a 4-game suspension. Way back earlier this year, domestic violence dispute. The main thing of it is it was just property damage. The main subject being a vacuum cleaner he broke. The case was settled all the way. The case is already settled and everything, but the NFL was like, we're gonna suspend you anyway. But it kind of just came out of left field, the entire timing of this is just weird. I mean, I feel like they should have just went ahead and suspended him right out the gate from the first game on. But the only thing I disagree with is the length of the suspension. I feel like they could have cut that in half, to be honest. That's just me personally. I mean, just based on the fact that, no human beings were hurt or anything, but don't get me wrong, it's still wrong. What he did was wrong, you know what I mean? Just to act in that manner, but that's just how I feel about it. I'm gonna go around the room. How does this affect the defense? And I mean, what is your guys' opinions about the whole entire ordeal with his suspension?
Where are you gonna start?
Well, I'll say with his suspension, I think they should have suspended him to start the year too. To me, it would have made more sense because we didn't get any new evidence, but they did say. Well, I guess we did get new evidence. Maybe that was what it was, but the date still was so far ago. They should have just did it to start the season. But they gave him 4 years because they said he was being aggressive towards her, and I think it was another incident that she said that he smacked her, smacked something out of her hand or something like that. It was something else. That's why it was 4 games. I think.
Okay.
I didn't even hear about that.
All right, it's understandable.
It was in the article.
Yeah, that's understandable then.
One of those. So I think that's the only reason they made the 4 games. But we go miss him because we know he our best coverage linebacker. And it's the timing is crazy because last week Wille Gay had probably his best game. Like he was everywhere on the field last week. He missed a couple tackles, but every play we was like, damn, Wille Gay was all over the field. So for him to have that type of game, and then we miss him the next week, that's gonna hurt. And then we miss them for these next couple weeks, which is tough. Against who we playing against, people were saying was the hardest part of our schedule to start the season. So I think it's gonna be a big blow. Harris did cool in preseason, so I guess we hope and wish he do good.
All right, everybody got that conspiracy hat on? Put your conspiracy hat on.
Oh, no. No.
Okay, so they had to know. I think they knew before the San Diego game or before the Chargers game. My apology. Because they pulled them 2 linebackers up from the practice squad, Cochran and Lee, right? Prior to that game. So do you think it was a conspiracy or do you think they came to him and was like, yo, we're going to suspend the kid? And Andy Reid was like, all right, do it after this game. Like, it's a short week. Don't do it now. We don't need to lose him. It's too late. Just go ahead and do it after this game. And then Wille Gay was like, hey, Andy was like, yo, this is your last game. They're going to suspend you. They're going to knock you for 4. I don't like that he ain't getting paid either. Like, they had to knock his money in and you can't be around the team. Like, none of that. Like, I don't like that you can't be around the whole team while you suspended. Like, you should at least be allowed to go to meetings and prepare like you're going to play. You just can't play. You know what I'm saying? I got to.
Country, come on, man. You know we used to get suspended in school and in-school suspension. You couldn't be with everybody else, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's fair. I was in-school suspension a lot. So. In-school suspension helped me graduate. I caught up on all my work in in-school.
Oh, my goodness.
I love in-school suspension. But, no, I just think they had prior knowledge, and I think he was informed, like, yo, they're going to suspend you. And he went out and had the game of his career so far. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't like the timing of it. Come on, man, get it over with. You knew the case was over in July. It's September. Y'all just now coming out with something. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Y'all knew what he did. We the case been settled since July. It's September. It's almost October. Like, what's up with that, bro? Like, and if you're gonna wait that long, you might well give him 2 games. Just because we were slow don't mean you throw an extra game on there because we slow, we moving slow. Like, we know what happened. So that information that Boogie dropped is new to me. I did not hear that. So that kind of changes it a little bit, but I just think the timing was weird. I think he was informed that he was going to be suspended, but I don't know. It's going to hurt us because he is our best coverage linebacker. I love Wille Gay's energy on the sideline. Like, even when he's not playing, he's throwing the towel, he's screaming, he's yelling. When he's mic'd up, it's all energy, it's all yelling. I don't know how that boy got all that, but energy in him. But yeah, you just suspended a guy for 3 games, 2 guys for 3 games for performance-enhancing drugs. But a broken vacuum and maybe being aggressive get you 4 games. Like, the NFL is all over with their suspensions, bro, and their punishments. Just make the punishments consistent. Look, if you hit somebody, 4 games. If you fill up on your masseuse, 11 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it consistent, bro. Like, something like that. But I know everything varies, but unless you're a dope fiend or something, like, you know what I'm saying, we're not going to go crazy on you. But that boy lost 4 checks. He can't be around the team. He can't, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Yeah, I probably have a little bit of a different perspective, but I always think of it this way, in that when you were in the National Football League, you're in the fishbowl effect at all times. So when you're in the off season, you're still representative of the National Football League. If you go out to the store, you are still representative of the National Football League. If you have a dispute with your spouse, representative of the National Football League. So we have to expect that, there will be some sort of accountability. But to your point, Country, I do think that the NFL is very inconsistent. with their punishments. And I think even if you take the Deshaun Watson case for an example, the judge even said, I can only suspend him initially 6 games because of the precedents that you set. Like, your policies only allow for this. So that should be a real big flag in a lot of people's minds, and the fact that like the standards that they have set don't make sense currently for the things that are attributed to them. So, I think of Calvin Ridley betting on a game, an entire year gone for betting on a game for $1,500, right?
Yeah.
Like,
he should have been
things like that.
suspended, though. We gotta quit acting like that gambling ain't a big thing, man.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. No, I'm just saying that, like, for example, that was a year-long suspension. But we have people who might be involved in domestic violence, disputes. 4 games. PED is 6 games. Things like that. Things that in my mind is either a little bit bigger deal or maybe as big of a deal as the gambling. But they don't, the suspension doesn't match, right? Like, it's like, okay, well, I got suspended for PEDs and it's 4 or 5 games, that's it. Or like you think about Josh Gordon, for example, suspended multiple seasons for smoking, essentially. That doesn't make sense in my mind either, when you got people still playing in the league with more egregious, offenses, so to speak.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think so too.
From the outside to the side punishments, yeah.
Yeah, that Goodell might have too much power when it comes to suspension.
You think?
Uh-oh, never mind.
Uh-oh, you're going to get
Don't get him started.
Listen, that's on the play. That's on players. The players, the one that buckled down, they was worried about wanting to be able to smoke weed more than anything, and they didn't look at everything else that should be in their favor. But hey, it is what it is, man. So, but yeah, I do agree that there is a lack of. My fault. I do agree that there is a lack of inconsistency though with the suspensions and penalties and all that. Like, there's nothing concrete. There's nothing concrete whatsoever when it comes to that.
Hey, she also alleges Gay has threatened to slap her. Like, who? My mama threatened to slap me every day. like people threaten to slap you all the time. Never mind.
Well, if he had a history, I could see why they might have given him, 4 games or things like that. Obviously, I don't want to speak on that because I don't know enough there. But I'm just thinking in terms of if there was an established pattern or a history or things like that, I would assume the league takes that into consideration, when they do these suspensions. But again, I don't know their process, and I don't know Wille Gay's history either, so I don't necessarily want to get into those details. But just thinking about the established pattern or things like that. Or, for example, I'll go something that's completely left field, the Mike Evans situation this week with him and Lattimore. He's got previous history with Lattimore from 2017. He got 1 game for literally, like, starting a fight, for literally starting a melee, on the sidelines. Like, and for someone who he's got history with, which is crazy to me, like, 1 game and that was it.
Yeah, his suspension was light too, because he totally blindsided dude. Like, dude wasn't paying attention. I think
completely blindsided.
All of them should have got like 2 games.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody. Yeah, because that's a liability. That's a safety issue, because you got not only players there, but you've got coaches there over on the sideline. You literally blindside a dude, and not only does he go down,
and they got history. Like, this ain't the first.
Yeah, and they got history. Like, it would be
got a game the last time.
First dust up that they had, but no, they've had history with each other.
How much did
but that mean
Odell and was that Odell and Norman when they was fighting?
Oh, yeah.
Was that Odell and Norman, or they was tripping?
Yeah, it was.
Well, and you got to think that in the write-up of the 1-game suspension, they basically said that your conduct was detrimental to the people that are on the sideline. It was egregious. It was, unsafe or whatever else. So someone said it's their seventh fight, and he only got 1 game. Yeah, all right. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's no sort of like standard. Like, I don't know how you write that and say that it was like basically like unsafe. And he did not push him in the chest. It was literally the back, like complete, just pushed whole body.
He wasn't standing towards him. He was standing in front, like
right. Well, and I think they had already, and I didn't see the whole part of it, but I believe what I had, the replay I'd seen is they had already Tom Brady had already gotten in the mix anyways, I think with Lattimore, and they were, jawing at each other or whatever else right before all that happened. And you could see Mike Evans mouthing to the ref, it's Tom Brady, what do you want me to do? Sort of thing. So I think he was trying to defend his quarterback, which I get. I do.
They actually gave Tom Brady a win for it. They was like, we'll just give you a win because I'm sorry, Mr. Brady, we sorry. We didn't mean to upset you, Mr. Brady, so we just gonna grant you a win. So they like 2-1 now. Man.
Chuck is rolling his eyes.
Chuck rolled his eyes.
No, my bad. I was
no,
you good.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the game, my fault. But here's how it really kicked off though. It really kicked off because of Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians, he was on the sideline. John Whitmore Lattimore was talking to the ref about a call that was called on him like a few plays earlier. And then all of a sudden, him and Lattimore was going at it. Then Tom Brady and Lattimore was going at it. That's how everything kicked off. And then, Leonard Fournette, he pushed Lattimore out the way because, Lattimore got up in Brady's face. And then that's when Mike Evans came out of nowhere with the blindside push and everything. That's how it all kicked off. So
and another point is like you kind of like that from Evans. Like you standing up for your quarterback, you standing up for your team. It was a little overboard, but you hate it, but you love it at the same time. Like if his teammates loved it, I'm certain that Tom Brady probably gonna give him a Rolex this week, but you can't do that. I just think he should have gotten more games because they've done it before. Like this is the third time y'all done fought. You too. You same two guys. Y'all keep fighting every time y'all play. Y'all play each other twice a year.
Yeah. Well, and that's just my point.
It should have been a two-gamer.
If you're going to suspend people, like at least be consistent. If they've got
Evans the only one that got suspended too, right? He's the only one that got a game.
Yeah, everyone else got a fine, I believe.
Did Tom Brady get a fine?
I have no idea. No idea.
Hey, of course not.
But
what kind of question is that? Of course not. They're gonna protect him. But anyway,
hey, bro, he the GOAT.
But anyway,
bro.
Yeah, I feel like
it is what it is.
Yeah, he the GOAT.
Man, forget all that. Forget all that, bro.
You can't fight that, bro. He's the face of the league, bro.
Man, forget all that.
No, he the GOAT.
Dog.
He's not the face of the league anymore. He the GOAT though.
But I feel like Evans should have got 2-game suspension for that, just because the history, like you guys mentioned, like these dudes, they're gonna forever have beef with each other. Like I don't think that's gonna change, man. I don't think the two ever reconcile. It just is what it is at this point with them two. But yeah, at some point they got to crack down on it even more.
DraftKings, y'all better have a parlay on that fight for the next time they meet.
Oh my goodness.
We putting money on that one.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Man, speaking of games.
Yeah, let's go and transition.
Well,
I'll take that.
Let's transition.
Hey, listen, he put up 161. He put up 161 against the Texans.
Segue right there, Hefe.
Wouldn't be impossible.
Yeah, let's bring the question to everybody, man. Okay, because the Chiefs been getting a lot of love ever since the lines dropped on this game. I saw a Pat McAfee show. I saw a clip where some of his homeboys was like, the Chiefs should be a 20-plus point favorite in this matchup. And I was like, oh shoot, here we go. So with all that being said, like, is this truly a trap game? Are we falling into a trap here with this matchup? Because look, I know the Colts. I know Megan knows herself that they haven't been looking good the first 2 games. They've been playing down to their competition. Jaguars, they couldn't even score a point last week. It didn't look good. Offensive line having issues. Like Hefe mentioned, Jonathan Taylor, they didn't give him the ball for real, like they should have. There's got all kinds of issues going on, but I said it in her space last night. Her and C. Lou hosted a Twitter space last night. I said, look, the Colts just might be one of those teams where they play down to their competition, and then they may show up against one of the top teams in the league. And it is a possibility it could be in this situation because really they do need a win to boost their morale and everything. So I'm not putting anything past that team. So I'm gonna go around the room. Is this a trap game? Do you guys feel like it's a trap game for the Chiefs?
Where we
Everybody's
starting?
silent. I don't know if you want me to. If you don't want me to start,
Go ahead.
I
We'll
don't
let
think
our
it's a
guests
trap game
go.
for the Chiefs. I don't necessarily like the term trap game, but I understand why people use it. In this regard, I don't necessarily think it's a trap game for the Chiefs, but the Colts and the Chiefs do have history. Colts are 17-10 all time in the series. Last time Colts and Chiefs played, that was October of 2019. I think Pat Mahomes was like 22 of 39. I might be a little off on that, but 321 yards, 1 touchdown to Pringle. So it wouldn't be impossible for us to say, like, hey, something of that nature similar could happen. But of course, these teams are completely different from that time frame. You're also talking about the Chiefs playing against, Gus Bradley's defense, and Patrick Mahomes carved them up the last 2 times. So you're talking about 40-plus points in either one. What I would say is that I would love to see the Colts play up this game. Yes, play up to your competition. For the love of all that is holy, play like we know that you can. You've got an aging quarterback, and that's not a slight to me. I don't like to call him old, but he is aging. He's on the older side in terms of quarterbacks, but there are 2 others older than him. I would like to say that. But you've got an older quarterback. You've got an O-line who's been getting pushed around in the trenches. You've got young wide receivers who haven't been getting any separation. You've got tight ends who have been almost non-existent on the field. Like, the man needs help. Send help. And you need a defense who can have an effective pass rush. That's I think if I continue talking about it, but I don't want to dive deep into it. But the Jacksonville game last week, if anybody was kind enough to sit through that, 3 pressures from that defense. So we obviously know that they're capable of more. This will be the game to find it. Absolutely.
I don't think it's gonna be a trap game. I mean, I think Chiefs will win comfortably still. I mean, I still think Colts is a cool team, but I don't know, man. I got to see something out of Matt Ryan before I'm sold on the Colts making this real competitive. Because last week you said he didn't have no help. I know Pittman didn't play, did he?
No, Pittman was out, Pierce was out, and your leading receiver was Ashton Doolin.
Yeah. So he had people out, but like you said, that O-line beat up. How that O-line's playing, I just don't see it, man. If the Jags can score on them like that, I don't think Mahomes going to have no problem with them this week. But they can run the ball. So
not having Shaq Leonard around is a huge loss, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's a quarterback of your defense. Yeah.
Not a trap game. Even though, hey, chill, baby. Even though we got Tampa Bay coming up, but I think that Mahomes and Reed are so focused that we don't have those type of disappointments like that. I don't think we gonna let down. But like you said, we got history. The Colts always play us tough. Colts always, even when y'all had backup quarterbacks. Who was that? That backup quarterback y'all had for Peyton Manning. He kept y'all in the game. Like
Painter, wasn't it?
Painter? Was it Painter? Oh God! Dwayne Bowe had to pull out the circus catch just to beat him, and so the Colts always play us tough. Come on, dog, chill out. Brissett played us tough last time. That was the last time we didn't score like 20 points or something in a game. So, I don't know, man. It's tough, but I think we just got too much. Chill out, dog. I think we just got too much, and I think, like Chuck said when we played Arizona, that it'll be tight, and then we'll pull away in the 4th. I think it's going to be one of those games. It's not going to be what we did to Arizona. I do expect Pat to throw like 3-4 touchdowns, but I think we might need him. So I think they're going to come to fight, man. Everybody shows up against us. We the Super Bowl. So they're going to show up, definitely.
And Megan, somebody got a question for you in the comments here. Kyle got this question for you. What is your initial reaction to Gus Bradley's comments in regards to his defense against Mahomes last season? And then, he wants your full thoughts on that.
Yeah, so thanks for that question. I appreciate that. We were actually having a discussion about that on the timeline today. My thought is this. in my mind, elite defenses respond. And because I think that, I think it was Silu actually who brought up that, the Raiders had turned the ball over quite a bit in the last time the Chiefs Raiders played or whatever else. So to put the defense in a bad position, they had to kind of respond or whatever else. And they were, getting gashed, all that sort of thing. In my mind, you find a way. That's how I feel personally. And I feel like in this situation, obviously we've seen Gus Bradley take advantage of the personnel he has on the field. We've seen, for example, Legion of Boom is that's what really comes to my mind when I think of Gus Bradley. Obviously, we're not that, but what I'm saying is you are able to play to the strengths of the personnel that's on the field. We have yet to really kind of see that with the Colts. I mean, through 2 weeks, we're getting pushed around, and that's an understatement. I think when you don't have Shaq Leonard on the field and you're asking people to step in to provide that sort of burst that he has, the turnovers are not there because that usually comes from someone like a Shaq Leonard. It's going to be tough. I mean, and then you're very young at some key positions. Some linebackers are extremely young. You're very young at the end. You're young in the safety positions. I mean, this is an entire. I mean, really and truly, it's almost like being completely brand new on both sides of the ball. And that's not exactly ideal for what people like to say on paper is, oh, the Colts are going to win the division. I think, and truthfully, and I said it last year, we didn't have a pass rush last year, and that bothered me. The fact that we were either boom or bust if DeForest Buckner wasn't on the field, and that was, in my mind, that was a little egregious because we have some talent on the roster. So I think that we're going to have to find something here. I don't know what, but something to get us going. I do think that it probably starts with maybe getting some more pressure with our front four because it's not coming from anywhere else currently.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you think Matt Ryan is done? You said you've been to Atlanta. Well, you from Atlanta, so you didn't see his career.
Yeah.
You're a Colts fan. Do you think he's done?
No, I don't think he's done. But I will say this. I was not necessarily a big fan of us putting a Band-Aid at the quarterback position. And I've been talking about this at length for I don't know how many seasons now. I'm tired of the QB carousel. Like, please get me off. Please and thank you.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, we went through it for some years.
Yeah. I mean, I was
last time y'all needed the quarterback, y'all got Andrew Luck though.
Well, but think about this. Since Andrew Luck and he retired. Well, we've been spoiled. Let me say that. We have definitely been spoiled. Okay. All right, so I'll acknowledge that, right?
Definitely.
But you're talking about Jacoby Brissett. You're talking about Andrew Luck coming back. Then you're talking about Phillip Rivers. You're talking about Carson Wentz. You're talking about now Matt Ryan. Like, at what point do we say, okay, we need some continuity here, some continuity here? I hesitate to say that I think Matt is done because if you look at like what little he had in Atlanta last season, he still put up almost a 4,000-yard season, right? Like that's pretty, in my mind, that's pretty decent considering he was playing behind probably one of the worst O-lines in the entire league. And he had two weapons out there: Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson, maybe Russell Gage if you know a little deeper on the Atlanta weapons, but there wasn't a whole lot there. So I think he did what he had to. But in my mind, I think you probably get two years out of Matt. If we get that, and then again we're back to the drawing board, which is why I was not a big fan of even before then. I wasn't a big fan of Carson Wentz, of bringing Carson Wentz in for that reason. And now we've got Matt Ryan.
I think Matt Ryan check engine light on, Megan. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know, man. That's right
you
now.
know what? It might be because you want to know why? Because in the first 2 games, 18 quarterback hits, and 7 sacks. I don't know what quarterback in the league, sans Matt Ryan, anybody would survive behind that. So yeah, I would imagine his check engine light is coming on. He needs new tires by now. Like, the filter needs to be changed. Like, there's a whole lot that probably is going on. Like, it's a combination of Matt not helping himself, his O-line not helping him, and wide receivers. And I mean, I could get on my Chris Ballard soapbox if you want me to, but there's a whole lot of factors here that just aren't helping.
You welcome.
Yeah. We gave y'all Chris Ballard too after y'all beat us in that fumble game. We're gonna give y'all Chris Ballard.
Oh man.
Ooh.
Do we think the defense feels the same way about that? I was a guest today on the Colts show, and he mentioned a rumor in the locker room might be getting away from the Colts, that he might be getting away from the coaching staff. Interesting. I don't like to comment on rumors, so I won't address that one.
Who's your coach? Frank Wright? Frank
Wright
still your coach?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still Frank Wright.
Yep, still.
He's not a terrible coach. Do you think? That is
You're gonna get
point.
You're gonna get me started now. So shameless plug. I wrote about this a couple weeks ago, and I think the title of the article was "Is this Colts figurehead on the hot seat?" And my answer was yes. The seat is absolutely sizzling right now. We've left burn marks at this point. I think with Frank, he certainly has his moments where you're like, okay, this is why a lot of people consider him a top 10 head coach, in the NFL realms. But there have been a lot of slow starts. There have been a lot of defensive collapses, including 3 last season alone. I'm going to get there on Ballard too. I see your comment. And not to mention, the team lacks the killer instinct. We can't close the door on a lot of games. The most painful in my memory is probably the Baltimore Ravens game last season, where you literally go from absolutely, mollywopping the Ravens to they come storming back, and now we're in overtime and we're losing. We got 3 missed field goals. Every corner known to man on our team is down. Like, it's just, a complete unraveling. Or you think about the Jacksonville game last year, 26-11. Again, a complete team unraveling. Multiple games last season. The Arizona game where it was trash, and nobody remembers that it was trash because Carson Wentz happened to hit a game-winning touchdown, and nobody remembers that it was a game-winning touchdown either. Or how terrible it was because it just happened to work. But he threw in a window that was about this big, and Desmond Patton just so happened to catch it. We have lots of stuff like that.
I hate to interrupt you, but this sounds so familiar. This sounds like us before Andy Reid came. We couldn't close games. The coaching, we was upset with all the coaches. We was upset with the defense. Like, it sounds so familiar. Like, for real.
It's probably frustrating because that there's talent on the roster. Like, we've got several Pro Bowlers on the roster, all pro, a couple of pros, that sort of thing. Obviously, you clearly got some centerpieces, a Quentin Nelson, a Shaquille Leonard, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Kenny Moore, that sort of thing. But then you have some really head scratchers where you're like, why? We had a conversation, I think was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday about Chris Ballard's inability to draft wide receivers. So, for example, if you talk about Paris Campbell, DK Metcalf was on the board at this time. Terry McLaurin was on the board at this time. Right, literally right in these same picks. And they picked Paris Campbell, and he's played 17 games in 3 years. And probably under 1,000 yards total for those years. And I'm probably being generous at this point. So it's things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just about to say that. Mecole Hardman.
I'm joking.
What do you think about Chris Ballard also being part of this experience too? And I talk about both of them going hand in hand in terms of not giving your quarterback a chance, especially with the O-line. Ballard we call him Bargain Ballard for a reason. He loves to go find his little diamond in the rough pieces that he doesn't want to pay a whole lot. And if they so happen to work out, he can say, look, see, I don't have to pay anybody. We don't have to spend so much. And you think about, lack of drafting at the tight end position. Like, he didn't after Jack Doyle, which wasn't a Ballard acquisition, but you get Mo Alley, you get Kylan Granson, and you have Drew, who got, hurt this year. So we're still suffering there. And really, we've been down depth at tight end for at least 2 or 3 seasons. So it's just now being addressed. We didn't go get a veteran wide receiver in the offseason. So T.Y. is not coming back, which is fine. He had injury issues last year, almost didn't play last year because of injury issues. And you drafted Michael Pittman, which was not supposed to be a wide receiver 1, but he is now wide receiver 1. He's having to step into that spotlight. You draft Pierce, and he's already been out with a concussion, which is not necessarily his fault, but just matter of fact, already missing games. So it's not pretty. We don't have a whole lot of depth at those positions. So Bra shopping.
So y'all need an Alex Smith.
No,
The bridge
Oh
him
my
over to the
God!
next.
Stop it!
No,
I'm not
Stop
saying they need
it,
it.
please.
I'm talking about a bridge.
Oh my
A bridge to
goodness!
the next quarterback.
Who's the bridge though? If we're gonna use a bridge, it would have to be someone who's already on the roster. It'd have to be like a Sam Ellinger. And in my opinion, Sam's not there yet. He's not good enough to put out as a potential starter or someone to kind of slowly put into games or whatever else. He's only looked great because he's been playing against third and fourth stringers in the preseason, that sort of thing. And we're now to the point, the commenter's point, we are now on again the 6 quarterback in 5 seasons. Stop with the band-aid, stop with the bridges. Get me some continuity.
Draft the quarterback, man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've been on that. I've been on that train for a minute. And now this would be the time, at least in my mind, to do it, because now you got 12 quarterbacks coming, somewhere in 10 to 12 quarterbacks coming in this next draft.
Well, let me ask you this, Megan. I know Kyle asked this earlier in the comments. He was asking about Shaq Leonard. I know it's supposed to be announced that he's supposed to be it's supposed to be announced tomorrow if he's playing or not. Do you think he plays, or do you think it's another week of him sitting?
Honestly,
and then how effective can he be if he plays?
Well, okay, so let's back up to the first part. I'm not sure if he plays because he was a full participant last week and they still kept him out. I am hesitant to say that he plays this week because from what I was seeing from some of our beat writers was that, he's feeling better. He's getting there, but they'll determine whether or not he plays, probably tomorrow. I don't know. I feel like just him being activated would be a big lift for our team. But I'm curious to see how well he looks, after being out for so long, plus coming rehabbing back from an injury. I would say that he's certainly and obviously a difference maker on the field. I mean, he's a turnover machine. And not only that, he's your eyes and ears on the field. And right now, you've been asking EJ Speed to take on that role, which he's done decent. He's serviceable in that role, but he's not Shaquille Leonard, and he's not. And Speed is he's actually faster than Leonard, I think, in my opinion. But I think his instincts are not as fast. The way that he reacts to things is not as fast as, say, Shaquille. And you miss that on the field. You need someone who's going to, run to the ball quick. And I think that's why we've looked slow. We've had our DNs covering, wide receivers, things like that, because you don't have that person in the middle to catch all that underneath.
Megan, how do the Colts beat the Chiefs this week?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I would have to say maybe it's a couple things. So it's starting fast. So get the ball out quick. I've noticed that we've been holding onto the ball. So quick throws. I don't care if you have to dink and dunk your way all the way up the field. Quick throws. Let's get it rolling. JT has to get more than 9 carries. One thing that they got away from in the Texans game that happened in the Jags game is that they just stopped when they realized they were getting stopped by the Jaguars. They didn't even continue feeding them the ball. So you got to fight through that. Also, you've got to get involved for Nyheim Hines to open up the offense. That's your X factor right now. Use him wisely. He's been the second leading receiver, even though he's not a receiver, for 2 weeks in a row, which tells me that your young wide receivers aren't there yet. So he's going to need some help. And then I did say 3, but I'll give you another one, a 4th one. We got to find a pass rush. We have to. Doesn't matter where it's going to come from, but we have to.
Yeah. We talked about in the space yesterday. One of the Chiefs fans came up. They mentioned Nyheim Hines, that Nyheim Hines could be a factor in this game because last week a lot of people was expecting him to do some things against Jacksonville. Just because I guess game script, the Colts could get behind early. He could be a factor. He wasn't much of a factor. I know my guy Goose was on Daily Bread Media. He a Jaguars fan. He was mentioning that don't be so in on Nyheim Hines this week, that might be a trap. So I feel like the Colts could use him a bit more in this matchup. And that is a concern for us because Wille Gay is out. He is our most athletic linebacker. And we're going to have Leo in there. And then we're going to have some Darius Harris too. So, and we're not sure if those guys are up to par as far as being able to cover the running backs or tight ends in the passing game. So.
Well, and I wouldn't be shocked to see to see Mo Cox get involved because he's big. He's 6'5". Jelani is 6'7", 270. He's a big tight end. And from what I was hearing last night in the space, it was like this is the Chiefs fans in the space were like, yeah, we don't have anybody to cover big receiving corps like that. So I would be curious to see how they've been, how we utilize them, especially if we're aware of that. But one thing I would say I'm sure you guys probably hear this all the time, but Travis Kelce, like, where is he going to be on the field? Death taxes and tight ends and Colts not being able to cover tight ends, especially clearly ones, to the caliber that Travis Kelce is. I mean, you saw for years, like, Gronk has terrorized the Colts for years and years, literally throwing someone across the field. If you remember Sergio Brown, I'm going way back now, but it was a Colts Patriots game. He literally threw Sergio like out the club, like just threw him across the room. Unless you're Derwin James, and we don't have Derwin James on defense, I don't see anybody, picking up Kelce and suplexing him. So
yeah, I think crazy. if y'all play that ball control to our disadvantage, if y'all play that slow, grind it out, like how y'all been playing us more recently, I think that. But if we jump out to a quick lead and make y'all one-dimensional, I don't think y'all can survive that. So the more that, like you say, you got to get Jonathan Taylor involved, the more you grind it out, slow it out, and just pray that it works. You know what I'm saying? But if we can get out fast, then I think it'll be a good game for us. But if y'all get out and y'all run and grind it down and time of ball control, like last time we played y'all had the ball for like 40-something minutes or something like that. Like, it was like crazy. So that's probably the style that y'all probably have to go for on Sunday again. But I think we need to get out fast. If we can't get out fast and get the cooking on y'all, then it's going to be a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like Marlon Mack, he gashed us a bit in that matchup when it came to Arrowhead, and Jonathan Taylor's like 100 times better than him. So we gotta be on our game in regards to slowing down Jonathan Taylor. We gotta make him earn it. You know what I mean? We gotta make him carry it 25 plus times and make him earn it his yards. So
real Chiefs fans is not over. Real diehard Chiefs fans is not overlooking the Colts game. I don't care who y'all rolled out at quarterback or wide receiver or anything, because it's always been a war every time we played y'all. It's always a war. Like, y'all, I think we were like, weren't we like 9-0 in Andy's year, and then the Colts came in and beat us like they normally do. We couldn't get away from Peyton for so long. Then he went to Denver and beat up on us. Like, it's always a war when we play Indianapolis. So I'm not going to take it lightly at all. We can't, because y'all always show up with us. I don't know why y'all don't like us. What's wrong?
Listen, I wouldn't mind the show up. If anything, this is the week to show up, because you got the Titans after this and the Broncos. Like, please, by all means, start showing up this week.
Y'all be 2-3. Y'all just not gonna beat us this week.
I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Oh, like you said, y'all still in the division. Y'all division is a little weak.
Just call it weak. It is a weak division. It is a weak.
Okay,
division.
I was trying to be.
I said it for you.
I didn't want to be disrespectful. You a guest,
No,
it's weak. It's very weak. So y'all still in it, even though y'all. What's y'all 0-2?
1-1. You might as well be 0-2.
1-1.
I forgot 1-1. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Y'all still in it.
So they definitely in it.
That's how I
still.
feel too. That face that you're making right now, that's how I feel too about it. I'm like,
I don't know. Matt Ryan might still got a little bit of gas in him, man.
A little bit
of gas.
Yeah. So like before we wrap things up real quick, I do want to talk about Mecole Hardman. Carlos, like, what are everyone's thoughts on Mecole? Because I know Mecole, he was nursing like a heel injury and he was limited in practice. But like, so like we done discussed this already of whether he's gonna be more than a gadget guy or not. Like, we didn't already discuss like how he's improved his production every year. But do you guys see at some point him taking this game up to another level at some point during the year?
I think he can. I mean, we had week 3, bro. He had week 2. He was the only receiver with like 50 yards. So I mean,
yeah,
it's still early.
Let's have a little patience.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's funny because every time I hear that man's name, it makes me think about my husband's best friend. Him and his wife are Georgia fans, and so we've seen a lot of SEC football. And we watched a lot of Mecole Hardman, and his wife would be, I mean, absolutely hollering at Hardman for dropping footballs. You don't deserve to have the numbers on your jersey, like that sort of thing. So that's all I think about whenever I hear Mecole Hardman. But I mean, I think you kind of have to be patient with him. It took a little while to get polished like he is now. It wasn't always like that.
So if you feel that way about Mecole, I'd be curious to feel how you feel about Juju, because
honestly,
Juju ain't did nothing.
I feel like Juju fell off once he was dancing on logos, that sort of thing. Like like he's never recovered from that. That's my conspiracy theory for the day. I think for Juju, we expected more out of him, because I think he was supposed to be the number 2 in Pittsburgh. So I'd be curious to see what he continues to look like with Kansas City.
Yeah,
I agree, Cal.
Yeah, let's have a little bit of patience. It's only week 3. Bro, throw the Thursday night game out, bro, because that was a short week. I don't think they really prepared for that game like it was supposed to. It was just too short, too quick of a run around. But I mean, we won the game. So, but just be a little patient. We'll try to work this offense out. Unfortunately, Megan, it might have to be against y'all this week.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
I think the player of the game, and we can go into player of the games. On defense, I think one of them safeties are gonna have to step up. So I'm gonna go with Juan again. I'm gonna stay on Juan all year. Juan Thornhill. I think Clyde might be the key to this game. If Clyde can get some runs in, them hard, tough, bruh, if you got to carry like that every game. But I think Clyde is going to be a factor. If he can get off and keep going, then I think that'll keep y'all balanced and keep y'all on y'all toes. So those are my guys, Clyde and Juan.
It's on you, bud.
You got, bud.
I'm gonna go defense. I'm gonna go Nick Bolton, because the number one thing we got to do this week is to shut down Taylor. So we know we got to shut down Jonathan Taylor, and we know Matt Ryan like to play action. So Bolton is gonna be very important with no Wille Gay. So I'm going with Bolton this week. Then on offense, I'm gonna go with Mecole, man. Since y'all just talked Mecole up like that, we on turf. I think Mecole will have a big game.
That's a good one.
All right, Megan, what you
got?
Who gonna have to bring it, Megan? Who gonna have to bring it?
Yeah, I know. The entire offense, God, I don't know where you want me to start.
That's fair.
Honestly, I'm going to go offensive line, and I'm going to specifically go the tackles. They have been the most brutal the entire season so far. More specifically, Matt Pryor and Braden Smith. We have got to get it together. Pryor's looked a mess. Braden's been looking a mess since the end of last year, since he came back from his injury. Them shrinking in has caused some inefficiencies in the inner line as well. Like, the only person who's looked like they knew what they're doing was Quentin Nelson. So, offensive line, I'm asking for you to get yourselves together. I think on defense, honestly, I would probably say Kwity Paye is going to continue his campaign of kind of wrecking. I think the lights came on for him at the end of last season. Last 4 games, he's finally started getting some sacks, some QB hits, and they've continued so far. And he had 2 in the Texans game, which was great to see. Obviously, they came in OT, but, hey, they were great to see. He's probably been the little lone quiet star on that line, so I would probably say Kwity Paye. And I'm a little biased because I like him. But
all right.
Well, yeah. Well, for me, Boogie mentioned Nick Bolton. He's definitely going to have to be a huge factor. But Leo Chanel on defense. This is going to be like his huge debut, like where he's going to get a lot of snaps. And I expect the Colts to give JT a heavy dose. I can't see them give him single digit touches again. So he's got to be prepared to fill in those A gaps and prevent JT from getting those big runs. So he's definitely be the factor for defense. Offense, I think Juju is due. I think this is a squeaky wheel week for Juju. I just feel like on some of those routes the Jaguars was running, I think Juju can excel with those too. I think Jacksonville last week they ran a lot of crossers, and they ran some stuff over the middle on the Colts, and I think Juju can attack that middle along with Kelsey, and he can get some yak after that. So I got Juju getting in the end zone this week. That'll be my offensive guy. And as far as like the score is concerned, I just feel like we're gonna win the game. But the Chiefs, they definitely getting a lot of love, and that kind of concerns me a bit. So it's gonna be closer than what people think. I think we're gonna win. We're gonna win 31-27. I'm gonna say that 31-27 us in a tight one.
I have Colts, but 28-20. Don't ask me where the 28 points are coming from, Boogie. Don't ask, because I see your face now. Don't ask me where they're coming from. But that's 28-20. Like, show me that you can throw out some offense. Show me that you can spread the ball around. I would like to see touchdowns from JT if Pittman plays a Pittman touchdown, and then give me touchdowns by the tight ends. Finally find Kylan Granson. You've been looking for him for 2 weeks now. He had 7 targets in the Texans game. He is your middle of the field guy as well. Give me all the yards after the catch. Make it happen, Colts. Don't make me look bad.
I can see what 28-17. I got us definitely covered. And Chuck, do I need to take that Juju prop bet this week? He the only receiver without a touchdown, right?
Yeah, anytime touchdown, yeah, definitely sprinkle some on that. So,
okay,
man, I don't do scores. I think we squeak, but I think we 7 to 10 point range. A nice victory. Maybe a little on edge for a half or two, or because I think Indianapolis they're gonna go down swinging. So I think they're gonna bring some fight, and then we just got to gut punch them and then push the gas. So we'll see how it goes, but comfortable victory. 7 I guess is comfortable, but still kind of tight though. I think y'all got some talent there. I think y'all gonna get it together though, Megan. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, like you said, the division is weak, so they have to go. So there we go.
Hey Chuck, do they got a Matt Ryan anytime turnover bet?
Listen, Boogie, you and I were doing so good. We were doing so good.
I need a good bet, man.
Then we got the check engine light comment. Is Matt Ryan done? Now it's, do they have a turnover?
That check engine comment, boy, I'm gonna be rolling about that the rest of the night.
I just can't.
That's so funny.
But just to wrap things up, man. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Before we go, like to give a shout out to our sponsor here, Homage. Right now they got 20-30% off go-tos till midnight. They got a couple things for sale going on right now, and I just got my NFL list this week, the Patrick Mahomes on there. So me and Kyle have that t-shirt now. I'll definitely be rocking it during the game, and so you'll probably see me in it post game. So yeah, pay homage. Go and get your 20-30% off right now. Going on to midnight,
people. Gear too, Megan. They got Colts gear too, so go check them out.
Yeah.
Wow. I have.
Yep.
I have.
She got a horseshoe.
I have plenty. I got plenty.
A game of horseshoes.
Oh my God.
Yo,
So,
Kingdom Kast,
Megan,
man.
thank you.
Appreciate it, mate.
Yeah,
Thank
plug
you,
your
guys. I
spot before
appreciate
you
it.
go,
Megan,
though,
thank you for
Megan.
coming on the show.
Yeah,
Plug your
absolutely,
site.
absolutely. Sure. So I am the host of the Indy Intercept podcast, along with Justin and Boom. They're my co-hosts. That can be found on Spotify, and it's powered by Stadium Rant. So go look for NFL on Stadium Rant podcast. And of course, head over to IndyIntercept.com, where you will find all of our riveting Colts coverage and find several of us ranting about the game last week and any other coverage that we could think of. I appreciate y'all.
No doubt. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
Megan,
through.
thank you for hopping on the show. You were awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Kingdom Kast. Like and subscribe and
Can't even
share. Pay homage. All y'all that participated in the giveaway last week. Shout out to Natalie, who won on Instagram, and Royals Rally, who won on Twitter. We will be doing that again real soon. Y'all showed us a lot of love. We want to bring that back. And we'll be stay in contact with us. Keep following us. We appreciate all the support. And we out. See y'all Sunday.
All right, people.
Yeah.
Let's go, Chiefs.